I wanted to give you another example of why it's important to go the extra mile and to turn the other cheek and to have that kind of attitude. Really, when you look at the teachings of Jesus, most of them are impossible for us as men to live and to practice based on our own human nature. We have to have the spiritual nature and actually, in order to be doers of it. Here's the reason why it's so important when you're looking at being in the business world or being successful by man's way. And it has to do with a listing appointment that I just had. The people that listed the house, they went on Facebook and posted in a group in San Antonio del Mar where we live and said, can anybody recommend realtors? And they got a few different realtors' names popped up. One quite a bit actually. And so they interviewed a few of us, and I ended up getting the deal. My wife and I, actually, she helped me with it because the mother didn't speak great English, and so I took her along because of her Spanish. And the short of it is, why did we get it and the other agents didn't? And the answer is because we went the extra mile. Number one, we dressed professionally and showed up on time. And I know my competition, the ones that were going to be invited for an interview, and they don't do that. They probably showed up on time, at least the one agent, but I know how she dresses. And I know her personality and things like that. But probably the thing that got us a deal more than anything else is we prepped them as far as helping to get them on the right track to make sure that we didn't have any capital gains taxes to pay, or ISR as it is in Mexico. And you can do it legally. It's just you have to have your ducks lined up correctly in order to do it. And this particular seller didn't, even though they were Mexicans and they bought it as Mexicans, so there's no bank trust. They don't have any Mexican identification, which we need, and they needed their tax ID number and a few other steps. And we walked through the process and explained it to them so that in the end, and the fact of how much a capital gains tax would be, because they've owned this house for like 20 some years. And so their cost basis was almost nothing. It was like $10,000. It would probably sell it somewhere around 200. So it'd be a significant capital gains tax, like almost $60,000 if they didn't get their things in order to exempt. That is what made it where we got the deal, is the fact that we know what we're doing, we show up on time, we dress appropriately, and we gave them information that nobody else has given them, which they appreciate, and they see the professionalism, and obviously they want to choose the most professional person. The whole thing about going the extra mile, that's what it's all about, is you have to do it on the little things. When you're all the way back to when you're a kid, if you're teaching your children, and I try to instill this in my kids, it's not easy sometimes because they have a will and mind of their own, but always to do things right and at the highest level, and do things that other people aren't doing, because that's what going the extra mile is all about. And it transfers from business to being the best in sports, to being the best in whatever you're doing. And it also makes you more pliable when it comes to a walk with Jesus, because you're already used to doing that or have been taught that, and it's more second nature. The other thing I like to teach my kids, and was taught to me even though it wasn't for the purpose of coming to know Jesus like I have, is to listen to other people and wise instruction. And for me, it was because of sports, being involved in sports and listening to different coaches, watching different players on TV and what they're doing and doing well, and incorporating it into my game. And in doing so, it made me a pretty good athlete, even though I didn't have a lot of athletic ability. I like to incorporate that also into my kids, and that is a transferable thing as well, because when Jesus starts speaking to you, you recognize his authority, that he is the King of Kings, and the buck stops with him. You realize that you would be foolish not to listen to him and obey what he's showing you, even though it seems foolish because it goes completely against human nature. But back to the main thing, which is the story of why it's so important to go the extra mile and to do the extra things that nobody else is doing. It makes a huge difference in the amount of money you can earn if you are in sales, as well as just doing the best service for your clients. And also, Jesus sees it, and he knows the purpose of why you're doing it. It's not to get the listing, it's to do it because you're doing your best job for the other client. And the client knows it. And so everybody wins. And in the end, that's what righteousness is all about, where everybody wins and gets what they deserve. The problem in a lot of cases is what the people deserve is nothing, because they don't do their job right, or they don't live according to righteousness. The kingdom of God is all about righteousness. Seek first the righteousness and the kingdom of God, and everything else will be given to you. Peace.